Hello, my YouTube friends. I paid 3 different artists of different price ranges to create live streaming overlays, alerts, and scenes for me. It's been an absolutely crazy ride, and a lot of folks want to know how it ends. If you haven't seen the first video, I'll link it at the end of this video so you can check it out. But I'm just gonna tell you now, you aren't gonna believe what happened up to this point, and it gets really crazy. So everything was delivered on our less expensive packages, but our $200 package has been an absolute nightmare. So does this all have a happy ending? Well, let's get to it and find out. My analytics say that 80% of the folks watching my content are not subscribed. Am I doing something wrong? If so, let me know in the comments. But if you are looking for tools, tips, and tricks that can help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel and click that bell so you don't miss any new content. It's totally free. When we left off last time, we were dealing with our $200 vendor. We discovered that they purchased assets from another site and changed the colors. So, needless to say, I rejected that delivery and requested that they provide me the full delivery and some assets that I knew that they would have to produce in-house and couldn't purchase. A week or so later, I got 2 more scenes that were just the old scenes with new boxes pasted over top. That was certainly not what I asked for, and we were still missing a lot of assets that were in the deliverables on the request. But the main issue was really that they weren't assets created by the vendor at all. They were just purchased assets. And of course, that's not what I paid for. At this point, I did something that most people can't do. I sent this message and included a link to the video. I sent this with the intention that they would just say, yep, that's my best work. And if that's the case, I would accept the whole order, end of story, because, I mean, it's gone on long enough. To my surprise, however, that's not what actually happened. Instead, the vendor actually sent me a cancellation notice saying I just couldn't be satisfied. This was a little bit of a shock, to be honest. I expected them to just take the money and run, but I really didn't want the story to end this way, so I wrote them this message. Now, this is interesting. I know you purchased the assets and changed the colors for the overlays you provided me. I called you on it, and instead of making it right, putting the work in to create original assets, you want to cancel the order. The book is not closed on this. You have the opportunity to make it right. Choosing to not make it right means one of 2 things. 1, you can't actually create the assets because you don't have the skills. Or 2, you just don't care. I'm not accepting the cancellation. I want you to have every opportunity to make it right. It will either auto-cancel or you can pull it back and do the work. You write the final chapter to this story, so it's totally up to you. After writing that, I totally expected the 5 days to pass and for the order to get auto-canceled. I didn't think I'd ever hear from this vendor again. But just when you think you have something figured out, I got this response. Essentially, this says that this is not just a one-person team. The person assigned to my job did not represent their work, and they were going to pull the cancellation and make it right, and even provide me with a personalized logo for my troubles. It would just take a little more time. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. This was super exciting. I sent the pictures they requested for the logo, and I waited. 5 days later, I had the logo. And if I'm being honest, this did very little to curb my concern for the whole entire process. It took me less than 30 minutes to recreate this bad, reasonable copy of the logo using Placeit Pixlr with a cartoon app asset. Most of that time was spent actually searching for the assets, not actually doing the art. I'm not saying it's bad. It looks better than my 30-minute copy, but it should, and it's not original at all. It could have been cool if the circle in the back was the OBS logo, or if it was somehow personalized for my content. And just a reminder, this was originally supposed to be a 6-day delivery when I placed the order on August 16th. The delivery date of September 27th is 41 days late. None of that matters if the assets are really good though, right? Either way, it was just a bonus and in no way necessary. I responded letting them know that the logo was fine and I was looking forward to the new live streaming assets. And I would have to look forward to them for a long time. 13 days longer, in fact. A full 17 days since they committed to doing the redo of the original order. And the delivery got even more fun. The vendor sent half the order and used a size concern issue to withhold the rest until I accepted the delivery. I'm not even kidding. I got some of the assets, but the rest were basically held as hostage to me accepting the order. Who does this? After a brief back and forth, I just accepted the order. I mean, at this point, I really wanted to see what it took weeks to put together. Let's go ahead and walk through what I got. So we've got a face cam here. It's fine. You can see the stinger also goes. As it turns out, it was probably a mistake for me to not let them know that I didn't really care about the logo, since it's essentially a central theme in everything that they sent me, like the stinger and everything else. So here we go to the bar overlay. And you could see right down here, we've got bits and stars, both Twitch, which I don't use because I don't stream on Twitch, which they know. Be Right Back scene has some kind of audio that plays right at the beginning of it. I'm not sure why. Ending Soon also has some audio that plays at the beginning. I'm not sure why. Same thing with the Starting Soon screen. They're all basically exactly identical. Backgrounds, the whole 9 yards. They're exactly the same. It would be difficult to assume that these were actually different scenes. They're the same scene with different text. Intermission, got my video playing there. Same scene, different text, different boxes. Tutorial scene, which I set up with the face cam right down here. Guest 1 scene, once again with the bar down at the bottom with the Twitch stuff that I can't use. Second guest scene, just basic stuff. Tutorial scene that they sent me. And a second tutorial scene that they sent me with the bar down at the bottom that's unusable because it's Twitch stuff. So as you can see, this vendor didn't really care that I didn't stream on Twitch. Everything that they created was for Twitch. And, you know, that just shows a complete... I mean, to me, I spend so much time telling them what I do on YouTube and how I stream and showing them my streams that to get back assets that have no awareness for where I'm streaming to or what I do is ridiculous. It's, you know, especially considering how long it took to actually get this stuff, it's really inexcusable. And it's not to say that the assets are bad. The logo's not horrible. I mean, I don't know if everyone on Twitch is a raging narcissist and has to have their face in the logo. Personally, no, it's not my thing. I don't want my face in the logo. But if that's a Twitch thing, that's fine. And generally speaking, it kind of is. But the assets aren't horrible, but really it's just one scene repeated over and over again with different text and boxes. And there's no variety in that. And there's no relevance to what I actually do, given that most of the assets are created specifically for Twitch. It's just really, really disappointing. I actually would have been much happier with bad assets that were created, at least tailored towards what I do. Instead, I've got okay assets that are specifically tailored to somebody else's stream, which, I mean, come on. I'm interested to know what you think of these assets, so let me know in the comments. So over the course of this series, I had 3 artists deliver product absolutely late, and the most expensive artist used the Fiverr system against me multiple times. The final straw was forcing me to accept the order before I could even see the entire deliverable. And then when I got it, half of it was unusable and none of it was tailored towards my channel. To me, this is a pattern of bad faith on the part of them and completely dishonest. It was obvious that the artist never bothered to read or do any research on my channel. Most of what I received was not usable because it was tailored for Twitch. So I took all this to Twitch support, and this is where I got really disappointed. I explained how the vendor forced acceptance before I could see all the assets and that I was never going to get what I actually ordered. Now, their reply stated that the vendor was still communicating with me and I should work it out with them as the best option. And normally that would make perfect sense to me, but in this case, I was pretty much done. I replied once again and this time asked if forcing a client to accept an order before seeing all the assets was an acceptable practice. I also stated that I felt I was never actually going to get the assets I was promised. They replied requesting examples and, of course, my explanation of why I thought I wasn't going to get what I actually ordered. So I created a video outlining the scenes that were not usable, and I explained that even though I provided all the information about what I needed and what I do, the assets I received were still tailored towards Twitch and not YouTube, and mostly completely unusable to me. Furthermore, they really weren't good, and I had taken more than a month waiting just to get to this point. I also asked again about the practice of forcing acceptance before seeing all the assets. In less than 24 hours, the order was canceled and my account was credited. The nightmare was actually finally over. But in the cancellation email, there was still not a single word about Fiverr's stance on the underhanded practices that this vendor used multiple times. Now, I can only assume that that means Fiverr sees nothing wrong with vendors using these kind of underhanded practices on clients. And that alone makes the whole Fiverr thing an absolutely horrible experience. If Fiverr doesn't care about the integrity and practices of the vendors, then why should the vendors? I did get my money returned, but the experience was such that I would never use Fiverr again. And not just for live streaming assets, but for anything, knowing that these sort of practices are completely acceptable to them. What do you guys think? Would you use Fiverr for any sort of creative need that you may have? I'd really like to know, so let me have it in the comments. And if you want to see part 1 of this video, you should definitely check it out right here. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks that can help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. It's totally free. My name is Michael Feyrer Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.